Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome along to our weekly dust-up that is the Studio Rats live Q&A. Hurrah! Welcome along, everyone who's with us so far. My name is still James Ivy.
I was Paul Drew. And I love it, a weekly dust-up. I think the only dust-up we ever have is probably with us and Beringer. I think that's about...
Big shout-out has to go to Paul Taylor at the top of the show.
He got it in early.
He got it in early. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your contribution to the sick animals. They don't know they're sick when I'm betting on them, but you know. I'm glad we helped you with your search for the load box of your dreams. That's all I can say.
Should you read that out actually? Because I think that's really good. So Paul says, can't thank you enough on your advice. Got a tune my deafening Laney VC20. It's beautiful to play. Sag, chewy, sustain. The effing lot. I'm in love. 20 dB drop plus line out to desk for live. Awesomes. That's what you want.
I think he's a happy chap, isn't he?
Excellent. It makes such a difference, doesn't it? When once you can drive that amp at its optimum level, just
yes, yeah. And whether you liked our load box video or not, and it wasn't the most popularly received video we've ever done.
No, I don't think it was that bad. I think the only reason why there are a couple of comments. I think someone thought that we should have played the amp at the same volume as what we did with the load box, but that's impossible, and that's the whole point of a load box. You don't have to do
exactly that. Yeah.
Anyway, you can't please everybody.
We were trying to make a very very complicated thing quite simple and show that it's all about amp drive, not about output volume. So Absolutely. Anyway, if we kept it too simple, I apologise. We apologise, and if we made it too complicated for you, go and do some learning and all that. What have you been up to this week so far, Mr. Drew?
I bought a new amp.
Ooh, me too. Me too.
Haven't you? That's quite exciting. Bought a new amp. I've been driving around. So I drove down to. I've been going back and forwards to Guitar, which is quite a distance from me. Mm-hmm. So right, this is what happened. My 335. I decided to go and get fixed.
Right.
I mean, when I say fixed, just set up.
Tweaked.
So there's a couple of frets that really needed to be filed down. Mm-hmm. Just a fret dress, everything done. Took it to the first guy. Right, hold on, I should go back a little bit. So the guy that I normally like to use, who is Alex at Guitar, who is a genius when it comes to guitar. You know, if anyone needs a guitar set up or fret dress, whatever, go and speak to Alex at Guitar in Epsom. He's brilliant. And so I normally use him, but he was away last week, so he's now catching up with all the rest of the work. And I'm desperate to get this thing working. You know, I've got a new toy, and it's buzzing on a couple of things, and it's bugging the hell out of me. So I decided to look locally, and found a couple of guys. The first guy was a really good guy, and he gave it back to me. I don't think he realised the extent that what needed doing. Gave it back to me. It was buzzing in different places, because even though I said to him, "Look, it's buzzing on these strings," he didn't touch those strings. He looked at the other end of the neck. But anyway. It's all good. Really good guy, really talented guy. I think I'll use him again in the future for other things. Then I went down to this other guy, and I got it back. It was exactly the same. 60 quid later, exactly the same. And I watched him doing it. And he was so he got the fret file out, and he was filing down the frets. He put the guitar neck down on the bench, right, and then we started to file, and I could see the headstock going, and I'm like, I said, "Look, I'm panicking now." So anyway, he got a jumper out or something out and put it on that. So I'm starting to panic, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he can't really do that much harm now, so I might as well let him finish. Then I said to him, "Are you going to polish the frets?" Because he got the fret file out, which just makes it rough. He then got some wild wool out, and I said, "You're going to polish the frets?" And he went, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." He then proceeded to get out a microfiber cloth to polish the frets. I'm like, what are you doing?
I've given you a £3,000 guitar, and you're
well, yeah, but you know, like if you bought one new, it's more than that. But it's honestly, so I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to take it down to Alex, and I'll leave it with him for a couple of weeks, and I know it's going to be done properly. So just there's so many. Really be careful about who you give your guitar to, people.
I'm about to do a big shout out to my buddy Steve Barrett at Guitar Lodge in Felixstowe, because I went to collect a load of stuff from him yesterday, and I've got my Les Paul back, and it plays the best it's ever played. I've got my Fender Jazz back, which is no longer a bow and arrow. It's actually a bass guitar, and it's beautiful. My Eggle is playing the best it's ever played. He sorted out the 12-string I bought from the auction, put the block in to support the bridge. And he said the block actually, because it actually acts like a sound post inside a cello or a violin, it transmits the sound from the top to the back, so you get a much bigger resonance.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the 12 string's huge now. I mean, it's still a huge thing. You know, it's a lot of strings to get your fingers over, but it sounds massive.
Awesome.
Yeah, very, very awesome. And what else did he give me back?
Oh, can I ask what the bill was?
What, for 4 guitars?
Yeah.
So he charges 60 quid a setup, but all of them need some extra things like frets taking out and gluing in and redressing and stuff. Because where the neck had bowed quite so badly.
On what?
On my Jazz.
Right.
It had compressed the fret slot. Right. So when he pulled the neck back open again, they opened up and the frets pinged out.
Oh no. So
he's re-glued all the frets on that and on my Eggle.
Yeah.
So basically it was, including a set of strings, it was about 100 quid for the bass, 100 quid for the Les Paul, a bit more for the Eggle, and 168 quid for the 12 string, which required a lot of work. Had to take the bridge off and all sorts of stuff.
That's great. That's fantastic.
And that 12 string is amazing now. Yeah, and I spoke to him. I was going to take my 335, and I totally forgot to take it. And he's going to do me. He's got a company he works with. I can't remember the name of the pickup manufacturer, who do amazing pickup. He said I really rate them, and I'll do your hardware on your Epiphone, and basically make it. It'll be a Gibson spec with an Epiphone woodwork.
Great, awesome. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Nice.
So looking forward to that. Yeah. So good day for me yesterday. I had a couple of meetings and bits and pieces. I've spent today recording effectively a children's album.
Nasty.
Recording all the piano parts and writing songs for a kids album. So that was quite good fun. And tomorrow I've got the first of 3 days of teaching rock school.
Ouch. Nice one.
Absolutely shattered. But what also came this week, after you and I had our gathering last week, and we decided, well, don't say about that because there's a video coming out about that. But anyway, I bought another amp, and this is what arrived this week.
Come on, we'll do a little amp show and tell.
Now, this is quite a heavy beastie, but look, it comes in its own case. How lovely is that? But this is a PRS MT15.
So I recommended James to get one of these because it was I tried one of these out some time ago, and I thought it sounded amazing. It's like everything the little mini rectifier should have been.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good description.
It sounds so much better than a rectifier.
But it's big and it's fat and it's raw but it's got definition and clarity, and it will chug.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really great high gain, low power amp.
Yeah, it's really good.
Brilliant little thing.
Really, really good. Shall I show my beastie because it's a bit bigger than that one?
Yeah, it's all about size with you, isn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Oh no, my carpet's all gone wrapped up. Ugh.
Watch his spine suffer, ladies and gentlemen.
Jesus, that's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's so heavy. There you go.
Lovely. What is it?
So it's a Victory V50, the L. So this is it's discontinued. Oh, Jesus, that's heavy. It's discontinued now.
Right.
But it was one of the first ones they brought out, completely hand wired, boutique hand wired amp, 50 watts, and you can pick them up like for what it is. You can pick them up really reasonable.
Nice.
Yeah, really good.
Very nice. And of course, there's a video going live about that today.
Well, yeah, it's already gone live. Yeah, that's already gone live. So if you haven't seen that, go and have a look at that.
But not now, because we have questions to get through.
Yeah, I've got questions. Should we do them?
Shout outs to the masses. Savey's in the house. Dave Stockton, Scooby Snap. That's a new name, I think, isn't it?
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Now, of course, I've gone down one level. Of course, it's all shot up to the top. John Randall's in the house. The Geester is in the house. Lee Abrams here. Matt Wright. David Brose. Keith Milner. John Partridge. Lee says, howdy, trying to join for the whole show. That's always good.
Hey.
I missed.
What?
What's that? Keith says, hang on, what? Sorry, where are you?
And I'm just, no, I will get down to Keith's one. It's all right. It's,
all right.
That's what it's another Keith comment.
Right. Keith Milner said, I missed that. Which LB did you get? LB?
LB.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, let us know what an LB is.
Or are we being really dim?
No, I can. Let's pretend. No, I can only think of.
No, I can't think of rude things.
I can only think
of. Good evening, David McQuillan. Yes, we are both well. I'm well. I don't know about you, Paul. I'm fine. It's all right, is well here.
Good, thank you. Smiler Man 1, that's another new name. Hi guys, thanks for the great videos. Have you tried the new Epiphone Lazarus LP? Now that sounds, we talked about it last week actually, and I'm sort of changing my mind on it. It does actually look quite cool.
Yes.
No, we haven't tried one yet. I'm not even sure. I mean, we're not, I don't think we're on Gibson's radar, although we possibly should send an email.
Yeah, I mean,
nice to do, wouldn't it?
That's the problem, isn't it? There are so many. I kind of put us in the same category in this world. Wannabes who want to be on those lists of getting stuff.
Yeah.
And yet we're not. I mean, how very dare they? Do they know who we are? Clearly
do they
not.
Yeah. Keith said you could have played the amp with load box. You could have played the amp with the load box at the same sound level as the amp without the load box, but you would have needed to level match them with the sound meter for that. Yeah, but the point is that that's the sound of the amp. If no one would have heard the difference because that's the sound of the amp. So the sound of the amp at 5 is going to be the sound of the amp at 5 with the load box on. It's just easier for our ears.
Yes, and the whole point of a load box is to have the volume the same, but be able to drive the amp to do what it's supposed to do. So yeah, we're coming at the same problem from two different ends, I think. Yeah. So yeah,
definitely. Have you haven't missed any comments, have you, up the top? No,
nothing.
No, you're right.
Lots of hellos, which is all great. There's another new name.
Leonis Alpha. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Leonis.
And another new name.
Rashis Pradam. I have a GT1 1000 for a gig. How do I set up my tones at home that can sound similar on live gigs in front of the house? It's really hard to do that because
it's very hard. The one thing I would always say, or that I would say to do, that everyone does when they're setting up at home, and then they really regret when they go out to gigs. They put way too much bass in their tones at home.
Definitely.
Like way too much. And then when it gets, bear in mind, in a big show, if you've got a couple of thousand watts of PA to play with, a lot of that is bottom end. A lot of that is weight for your kick drum and your bass. You don't need any guitar sound down there. Put a high pass, put a filter on at about, at least 150 hertz for a guitar sound.
I agree.
At least
150. Yeah, I think if you possibly can, I mean, everything's going to sound different at home through, because speakers are, even the sort of speakers that me and James listen through, they're tiny compared to a PA speaker, and the amount of power that goes out. Just as James says, keep the bass down. I always find that when I do effects, a program at home, I always find that I do too little effects.
You're too subtle, because the speakers you've got are really detailed and showing up everything. Whereas as good as a PA is, it's built for throwing vocal sound and
So I mean, if you could possibly just go into a rehearsal room and plug into a PA and just set it up from there, I think that would be a good shout. If you're really particular about how you want it to sound and you really want to get it right before the day, I think that's the only way you're going to be able to do it, unfortunately.
So Keith Miller says hello. There's lots of inter-chatting going on, which we love. We love that.
K. Michael P says, howdy y'all from Sebastian, Florida, land of the trans-vaccinated.
I'm not even sure I know what that means, and I'm not even sure I want to know.
Keith Milner, Rashid's program, that's difficult. If you can play at the same sound level at home, that would help. But every venue is going to sound a little different. It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Andreas Hensler says, good evening, everyone. Greetings from Germany. Good evening, mate. Good evening. Nice to have you along. Lefty Mike, have either of you tried any FR cabs? Yes. Lots and lots.
Lots and lots. Most of mine have always been PA cabs, designed first and foremost for PA. But let's face it, that's what a FR cab is. It's a PA cab.
Yeah.
Or a monitor. Just because it's got the words head rush or two notes or line 6 Friedman or line 6 on it, it could have EV or JBL, or it's the same thing.
So I've had a couple. I had a Friedman ASM 12, I think it was. That it was ridiculous. It was the heaviest thing I've ever had in my life. So I had to get rid of that because it was so impractical. They have done a smaller one now, the ASM 10, I think, which is supposed to be much lighter. And I've had the line 6 power cab. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I think you're just better off if you can possibly, if you're using modelers, I personally think the best way to go is to get a couple of small two small PA speakers. That way,
JBL Eon 10s.
Eon 10 sounds great.
They're small, like you can angle them up, have a pair of those in front of you, and you can pick them up on eBay for peanuts.
So true, and they do sound really good. They're like those molded sort of plastic cabs.
And interestingly, if you ever want to, the reason I say JBL Eons, the older ones, which look like weird ads, if you ever want testament to how good they are, watch the video that John McBride does of his tour of Blackbird. And when they get to the echo chambers, the real rooms, have a look at what speakers they're using to excite the rooms.
Excellent. Yeah, and if you do it that way, if you get a couple of them, you can actually have your effects in stereo, as opposed to if you just have one of those, one of those bigger sort of FR cabs, and you'll get much more response from two smaller speakers than you would from one big speaker.
Yeah, totally.
Much more exciting. Exciting.
Absolutely.
Scooby Stap says, hello, yes. James Paul. Are you running your Katana at 100 watts in your vids? Does it make a huge difference in tone? Does cab resonance only work with USB out? I've been enjoying your Katana vids. Oh, thanks, mate. So the cab resonance, is that I haven't got mine in the room. It's down.
Mine's in the car tomorrow. The cab resonance is that switch on top, that hard switch, isn't it, on top?
Yeah, mine hasn't got one. Yours has. Mine
has.
Yeah, mine's software. I think I can switch it on the software.
Right.
Is that the one that takes it from
modern and vintage?
Modern and vintage, right? I don't think the cab resonance works. It's just it's on the power amp. I don't think it works out USB. As far as I know, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm doing another video. I'm doing one of those live videos again on Friday, although it's not going to be a live video. It's going to be pre-recorded because I'm out. But I'll have a look because I've got to get it out to record that video tomorrow. So I'll get that sorted. I'll have a look for you.
Cool.
But yes, answering the question about the 100 watts. No, I run mine at the lowest power. It makes no difference, honestly. It's a Class D power amp.
Yeah,
it makes no difference.
Yeah, I pad mine right down because 100 watts is blistering.
Yeah, just do it so it's comfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not like a valve, as in it's not like a valve amp. You don't have to drive it. It's fine. Keith Milner says I can recommend J White workshops outside Guildford if that's near anyone. See, gutted because that's nearer to me than Epsom is. So yeah, I live just up the road from Guildford. So damn. Scooby Stap. I'm using a Headrush FR108. Sounds good. James, who makes them?
Headrush are the same. Basically, it's the same cabinet. If you went to buy an Alto one, it's the same company. It's all made by In Music. You could have saved yourself 50 quid, but this one's got a Headrush logo on it rather than an Alto logo. So
are they charging more because it's got a Headrush logo? They love that. That's so funny. They just get us guitar players because they know we're more particular about things. How funny.
Yeah.
Bag buggers.
Yeah, definitely.
K Michael P, you're 335 ? You made the jump. Oh no, you haven't seen the video. So yes, go and check out the video, Michael. It's a couple of weeks ago. James?
Beautiful. It's last week. Yeah,
we've got another one coming out as well.
Yes, tomorrow.
Where we're comparing that one and James's Epiphone 335. Scary,
isn't it? I think it's actually scary.
Yeah, if you replace the pickups. Oh, hold on, no. It's all in the
video. It's in the video. It's in the video.
Like that. That's all
there we go. Yeah.
Evening, chaps. Evening, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
John Randall says, Paul, can you do a demo of volume at peak versus master at peak on one of your Boss Cat Fridays, please? Volume at peak versus master at peak.
Channel volume versus master volume.
Oh, I see. At peak. But they're different things. So they're different things.
I think that's the point. I think that's the thing. What people don't get is you have, and again, sorry if I don't mean to sound patronizing or I'm teaching it something new, but so think of gain. We refer to all these things as gain and volume, and there is a difference between them, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about the difference between gain and volume.
And mislabeling.
Yes, absolutely, lots of mislabeling. I always think of it as gain is your input gain. In fact, I normally say the input gain of something.
Absolutely.
And often I will use the phrase input gain, output volume.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where you have input gain, think of that in a guitar amp as how hard you are driving the input stage of your guitar amp, and hence we refer to that as how hard you're driving it, how much distortion you're generating, or that's being generated by the amp. Now, the master volume, all that effectively doing is turning up the absolute output of the power amp stage. Now, where you have two channels in an amplifier, you will you'll have a volume for that, a master volume for that channel. Meaning you can have your clean channel at a level, and you can have your volume, your lead channel, your distortion channel at a different level, or you can balance them so they sound approximately the same. Your master volume is then the absolute, exactly that. It's the master volume output of the amplifier. Now, in something like Katana, the harder you turn the volume control, it makes no difference. It's a Class D solid state amplifier. It is not.
It does actually make a difference.
Does it?
Yeah. The way the Katana clean channel works, because it's the way the Katana clean channel. Hold on, Am I being stupid here? I need to load up.
I didn't think the master did. I thought it was the channel master.
Yeah,
that
no.
did.
Yeah, not the master. The master's. Hold on a sec. I'm just loading up the Katana app so I can see, because
The channel master can.
Okay. Sorry. No. So there's gain and there's volume.
Yes.
So yes, on the Katana you've got gain. The gain definitely affects the input volume. The channel volume. Okay, I've done a video on it, to be honest, John. I did a video because Boss recommend that you crank up the master volume, and they think it sounds better. And I did a video basically showing that it doesn't actually make any difference. So if that's what you're talking about, does volume cranked up or the master cranked up make any difference? It really doesn't make any real difference. There might be a slight difference, but not that you'll, not that you hear it. I think Boss are trying to, I don't know, maybe they're trying to I don't know, sell it more for us sort of valve amp users and stuff. The Katana sounds great. It sounds great, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, my understanding is that the master volume on a solid state or a digital amp, a digital power amped amplifier makes no difference. It's just a final volume stage.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in a valve amp, the harder you drive the output section, the power amp section, yes, you are going to change the tone. And in my opinion, preamp gain and preamp valve drive sounds amazing. Power amp valve drive sounds incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that.
So if anyone's confused, join me in that one.
Yeah, I think we're all a bit confused. Keith Miller says PRS MT15, not a bad price either. Great
lamp, an awesome thing.
Yeah, really, really good. Really, really good. Island Sounds, we're quite curious about the sound difference between the Headrush FR108 and traditional cabs. There is no difference. I see, unless you mean like guitar traditional cabs.
Well, a guitar cabinet
difference. There's a massive difference.
Massive. A guitar cabinet won't have anything like the bass that are full range or anything at the top end, because generally a guitar speaker is designed to work in that kind of honky mid range.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get the sparkling highs and you won't get the boosty bottom end
because it hasn't got a tweeter.
Yep.
And normally they haven't got bass ports and that sort of stuff. Mesa Boogie actually do a Thiel cab, which has got bass ports, which actually sounds really good. I just saw that video, Paul. Good one. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Balloon Man Media. I think that's another new one.
New name. Wow.
That's cool. Hi, chaps. Oh, no. I've seen that logo before.
Right.
Balloon Man's been about.
There's a group of them.
Maybe. Scooby Step, the Joe Bonamassa guitar. Yeah, what's it called? Lazarus.
That one, yeah.
Oh, there we go. I have Lazarus. Looks amazing and plays like a god. Wow, that's interesting. So it seems like lots of people are interested in Lazarus. Yeah, nice one. What's up, guys? Damn, I'm late. No, it's all right, mate. You can catch up.
Yeah. No one's ever late. They just missed dinner.
Keith Miller says, regarding setting the tones at home and filtering, when I've done sounds for bands, I low cut the guitars anyway. That's very true, actually.
Yeah.
That's very true. But I think it's always best to get it as good. And depends if he's taken if he's being fed the fold back, that's fine. But if he's got his own speaker, that's going to affect him on stage. But yeah. I mean, a lot of live sound. It's funny. A buddy of mine was around earlier. We were doing some recording, and we were saying how much we actually hate because in the last few bands we've done our own PA mix. We've had with iPads and everyone's done their own monitor mixes. How much we hate working with a sound company who aren't perhaps as on the ball as they might be. Right.
Or working at venues where they've got an in-house sound engineer who's quite frankly way more interested in drinking his coffee or in ordering his pizza than he is helping us do a sound check.
Right.
We've got so used to doing our own thing. Everyone will do right. We'll just do a quick run around the drums, make them sound great, then just play. Front of house, our front of house guy can run around with the iPad and make the rig sound good and make the front of house sound good, and we can do all our mixes, our in-ear mixes. We've even got the singer with an iPhone doing her in-ear mix.
Yeah.
You just get so used to. We were talking about a time when it took nearly 5 hours to do the band sound check because they're all moaning at me. They said, "Well, why does your drums take so long?" I said, "I've got 8 mics. You have 1."
Yeah, and you got well, they should have said, "Why have you got so many bloody drums, James?" Is what they should have said to you. Why do you need that many toms? That's what I'd be saying to you.
Anyway, 3?
Yeah, one's enough. Anyway,
you're just wrong. Christopher Short, there's a new name as well.
Hi, Chris. No, it's not. No,
Is it not? Okay. No. All right, fair enough.
Smilerman, have you done a video on how to get the best out of a delay pedal to get a great lead tone? I've done videos on the Katana doing that, and I've done videos on the differences of running a delay pedal into the front of your amp and at the back of your amp, sort of, using the effects loop. It's a good idea. That's a good idea to do like a dedicated delay sort of lead. It's a very 80s thing.
I'll do it.
No, I love it. I always use it. I love it. I love delay on guitars, but that's probably because we grew up.
We are of a certain age.
Yeah, grew up listening to
Whitesnake,
Poison or something. Yeah.
Is this love?
Yeah. Lovely. Okay, next one. Alec Bourne, MIDI Mad Scientist says, "Evening all." Evening, Alec. How you doing? Christopher Short says, "Best FR Atomic CLR have a pair of Neo. The very best I have to compare with everything." Yeah, those Atomic ones, they're supposed to be good. Yeah.
Anything with a neodymium speaker in it gets my vote because they're lighter, so much lighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Ron Siegel says, "Ever use a Positive Grid Spark amp?" Yes.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
We did we did lots of videos on it previously.
I've still got mine. I love it.
Actually, the Positive Grid is one of our best, the most watched videos.
Yeah. And I'm going to do the mod on it as well. Uprate these speakers.
Nice.
Because it sounds good. It could sound better.
Yeah. I have a Spark for what it's worth. Nice one. I think lots of people do have Sparks.
Yeah.
I got rid of mine. But anyway, enough said of that.
Never mind.
The new G66 Red 7 10-inch powered are phenomenal. Don't know them. Nice one. Nice. Yes. So yeah, Keith Miller says Ron Paul's done some videos on the Spark.
Yeah, we have.
Chemical P, transvaccinated. If you say you are, you are. Just like the guys and gals changing their gender and expect the world to accept it. I see. Not
quite within the remit of this particular broadcast, but
yeah, you have to be careful with politics and things. But anyway, until recently, I thought the Spark was a bit meh. Yeah. It's good for what it is. It's really good for what it is.
It has a place in the world, and in my world, it's my barbecue speaker.
Yeah, great. Go outside and barbecue and play guitar at the same time.
Yeah, it's great.
The new Jimmy update is very good, though. Yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to try that.
I haven't updated mine yet. I'm not brave enough.
So they've obviously done a deal with the Hendrix
estate.
Yeah. Interesting. John Partridge just bought a Hard Tradition S. You guys ever tried one? I haven't even heard of one. Hold on. Let's have a look.
Oh.
Aha. Whoops. Tradition S. Let's have a look. And then, I quite like that. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. Yes, I've seen the headstock. Okay, James, do you want to share my? I
will do so.
Share. Let's have a look. Share screen.
Oh, that looks a lot like a Strat.
It does. Headstock. Do you know what the headstock looks like?
A Vigier.
Interesting. No, the headstock, and don't get me wrong, I think it looks gorgeous. So I'd love that. I'd absolutely love it. The headstock looks like. Do you remember those old Encores?
Yes.
That had that shape headstock. I think that looks awesome. I would love that. Oh,
is it lots of money?
It's not Fender custom shop price. Put it that way.
Right. Still,
it's not cheap.
No.
Nice though.
Very nice.
Yeah, I do like the look of that. I think that's really good. If it's a company that's offering, that sort of quality of relicing, and I know it's, some people love it and some people hate it. The only thing for me on that is the body is really relicked and aged, and the pick guard is bright white. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
It is a bit odd. It sort of jumps out a little bit. They should have put a mint guard on that. That'd have been really nice. Anyway, I'm coming out, James.
That's what I've heard.
Hi from Belgrade. Hi, Paul. How you doing?
A bit of Belgrade. Quite fancy that.
Keith Milner says Jay White is Ash Vale. Okay, great. The last time I went to Jay White workshops, that's so Keith was talking about a place to take your guitar to be fixed and tweaked. Last time we went to Jay White workshops, he had a couple of guitars from Ronnie Wood in for setup. See, now I already trust him. Now I trust this guy because if he's doing if he's doing sort of famous people's guitars, he's good. That's why you can trust Chandler, because he does everyone's guitars. Nice one. I will definitely check him out. Thanks, Keith.
Cool.
Next time I need something done. Lee Abraham says got the Headrush 108, and it was at the time the same price as the Alto 108. Great.
There you go. Well, then they haven't tried to rip us off as guitar players then.
Good. Keith Miller says, I'm an EE. Gain is how much given circuit increases the signal level by. I'm an EE.
Electronic engineer.
Okay, cool. Katana is class AB. Yes, it is. Scooby Step says the gain volume does affect the gain on the clean channel. It adds grit to it. Yes, definitely. No, the gain does, but the volume doesn't. The gain definitely does because that's the input gain.
Gain is the input, volume is the output.
Yeah, so output, that's the output, the preamp stage going into the power amp stage.
Yes, definitely.
But yes, the gain, without a doubt, definitely on the Katana, definitely adds drive. As I demonstrated in last week's live video.
Yes.
Keith Milner says, analog class AB, yes.
Yes.
I saw some photos from the Level 42 gig, and Nathan King on guitar is using the Katana. Awesome. Did you see that? What's his name? Genesis. What's the guitar player? What's his name?
Mike Rutherford was using a Squire Strat.
Squire Bullet or something.
Yeah.
And he absolutely loves it. Amazing. Lots of people talking about that.
Some of those Squires though were amazing guitars.
I know, but you think that someone's got, someone with all the money in the world like him could just get any guitar he wants and still he chooses.
Yeah.
I think originally he was a bass player, so we can sort of forgive him a little bit.
Yeah, because Hackett was the original guitar player, wasn't he?
Yeah. Alec Bourne says, Paul and James, did you manage to get that email on the analog Bluetooth wah pedal? No.
What have we missed?
Well, yeah, we've missed something there.
Oh, well. We'll find out more.
Sure. Sorry, if you don't mind sending it again, Alec, that'll be amazing. Sorry if we've missed that. I don't know what's happened. Maybe it ended up in spam. Have you ever tested the Katana Artist? If so, what made you stick with the Katana 100? I've never tried the Artist.
No, me neither. I got the Tuba 12 because that's the one I love, a Tuba 12 cabinet. There is something inherently better about Tuba 12. Yes, it's a huge thing, but I love it.
Keith says, venue mixes with modern line output, digital mixers, personal monitors and IEMs. It's all a lot easier. Yes,
agreed. But it still doesn't take much for some front of house engineer to totally wreck it.
Same thing.
And often that moron more often than not calls themselves the band leader.
Danny Litchfield's a classic at that.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
Danny Litchfield. Yeah, if you're watching, Danny, never ever touch my headphone mix again. God, he loves it.
When was the last time you gigged with him?
Oh,
how many years?
That's a good point, actually. Gig? What's a gig?
Yeah, exactly.
David also says, chaps, this may be a dumb question. There's never
no such thing. No such thing.
But could you explain low and high pass cut? I understand the general principles, but how does low cut frequencies up to or down to a particular band? So there's two ways. There's two ways of saying. So there's pass and cut. If you think of it as cut, don't ignore pass. Think of it as cut. So low cut is the same as high pass. So the low cut is letting the high pass. Think of that
exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly the phrase. A low cut allows the highs to pass.
Exactly.
A high cut blocks.
So if you think of human hearing, or the average human hearing when you're young is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I don't want to get too geeky on this.
Go on. I'd love to hear you try.
As we get older, our hearing decreases, especially the top frequencies. So the kilohertz starts to drop down. But a guitar frequency doesn't really go up that high. It goes up to about 5K. You can boost frequencies above that. It's just a bit of sizzle. So if you're high cutting, low passing, you can bring your cut or your pass down to about 5K, something like that. And your low cut high pass, you can bring that up to, I mean, just judge it wherever you want. But I reckon, as James said, 150 hertz. And then you're getting rid of all the crap, all the stuff that you don't need. And that stuff's been taken up by the bass drum and the bass. There you go.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully that helps.
Peter Ludlow says, will you be getting your Les Paul out Friday for some Gary Moore tone? Yes, possibly. I'm trying to think what the best use of this Friday is, because I did that tone last week, which is like an all-in-one sort of tone. And I'm thinking this week, I'm thinking of sort of doing artists sort of tones in a couple of weeks and just getting all the basic stuff done. So like a clean tone, a really nice clean tone, really nice driven tone, that sort of stuff, maybe a high gain tone. And then I'll look at, I think Gary Moore's going to be the first one though.
The thing with the Gary Moore tone,
you should do the Gary Moore one because you love Gary Moore.
I do love Gary Moore. The thing with Gary Moore is it's actually really easy. You get a full tilt Marshall and you go, and Gary Moore is these. It's all about these and the amount of aggression you put into the instrument.
Didn't he use Soldanos?
Yes,
in the later years. I mean, I know he was a Marshall man. Probably
he was the first guy who used the Soldano 50.
Oh,
because he said, I've been breaking too many of these the SLO 100s, right? And it was just getting too expensive to keep having to replace amps and stuff. So he got the 50s, so they were cheaper to replace.
The valves were cheaper to replace. Yeah. Was he a JCM 800 or 900?
All of them.
Was he?
I heard him. This is the thing. I heard him play through a pair of TSL 100s.
Right.
And he still sounded like Gary Moore.
Sure.
He played with a pair of TSL 100s and some DOD pedals.
Right.
And it still sounded like Gary Moore because, hey, guess what? It was Gary Moore.
Yeah. So good. Was so good.
But yeah, I've definitely got some Gary Moore ideas for tone. And one of those is get rid of all the bottom end. There was... Yeah, Gary Moore's tone was not about bottom end chug. It was about mid-range creaminess. The harder you dig in, the more of that top end, almost like the harder the amp wants to bite you back. Gary Moore was not a gentle player.
Oh, God, no.
Well,
it's so funny. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube recently, and you're right, because you've always talked about his technique was like, when you watch him, it's quite painful to watch. So yeah, I agree with you. It is. He's not like, he isn't like watching like a modern virtuoso, but he just sounded so good and played so well.
You watch Eric Johnson and it's all lyrical and beautiful and smooth. And Gary Moore is all about the and the passion and that's what I love about it, because I can't play like Eric Johnson, but I can play with a bit of aggression and
Ron Siegel says, I enjoy your live Q&As. That being said, it takes me away from work. That being said, thanks. Nice one.
Like that.
John says, I was going to get the positive grid Spark, but all the reviews complain about the bass. Without a doubt, I went with the Yamaha THR 10.2. Should be here on Friday. Nice one. I think if you're a guitar player, I think sound-wise, I think that's a better choice.
Yeah.
From what I've heard. Keith Milner says it was at the Genesis gig at Liverpool. I'm amazed that he was using bullets. And JMR, Mark Rutherford, is mainly a bass player, although an awesome rhythm guitar player.
Yeah, but when you've got Daryl Sturmer, you don't need to be a great lead guitar player because Daryl Sturmer is
good.
Now, if you want to see beautiful technique, Daryl Sturmer.
You don't hear his name anymore, though, do you?
Well, it doesn't have to, does he? He's got the Genesis gig wrapped up, and
but Genesis haven't done anything for years.
Like he needs to.
Yeah, but yeah. Keith Miller says he leaves a lot of the leads. Yeah, okay.
Yep. There we go.
Scooby Stapp, would you consider doing a Peter Frampton lead tone like the song Reckoner of his latest album? Without a doubt, yes. Yes, yeah, we can have a look at that.
All these can be added to the list, can't they?
Yes. Lee Abraham, on the opposite side to Rutherford, I saw Hackett last week and he was using 2 different Fernandez Les Pauls. Classics. 2 Engel heads and 2 Marshall 4x12s, not a square bullet in sight.
my drum teacher stroke my mate plays drums for Hackett.
Does he?
Yeah. Nice. Craig Blundell is currently on tour with him.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Those Fernandez Les Pauls, sort of classic 80s, I guess they're 80s, Japanese sort of Les Paul knockoffs that were really good. John Partridge, I both, in my honest, the THR 10 is better and a fair bit more expensive. And the Spark is great for the money. Yeah. Yeah.
I think if you do have the time and the inclination and can be bothered, I think upgrading the 2 speakers is a good way to increase the musicality of your Spark as well, and it will certainly work better as your outdoor patio PA as well.
Yes, definitely. Should we? John Sykes. Now we're talking. God, John Sykes on that 1987 album. It was 1987, wasn't it? Is that the album?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So good. Such a great player and tone and everything. Gary Moore's right-handed for the aggression. Yes, absolutely. Scooby Stapp, thank you for answering my questions. You chaps are awesome. Anytime, mate.
I'll take that.
Oh, yes. And David also said, Lukather tone on the Katana would be useful.
It's not about the bottom end for Lukather. Lukather's tone is all mid-range and some top end with for the bite.
And then loads of bloody chorus and delay.
Yeah.
Craig Blundell is an awesome drummer, yes.
He certainly is. And a lovely chap as well.
Lee says, I always thought Gary Moore's sound was all about the Les Pauls. Then saw the Strat 50-year show and he played a regular SSS Strat and it sounded like Gary Moore. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. All in his fingers. All in his fingers.
Which is the case with so many. Shall we dive into some new toys? We've talked about our new toys, but obviously there's been quite a bit going on this week.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot. There's not a lot. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 things to show.
Did you get the one that I added? From the Fruit Company.
Oh no, I didn't. Okay, I don't know where I'm going to find that. To be honest, we can talk about.
Go to the Fruit Company's website.
Okay. Melon.com.
Yeah. The Fruit Company.
Okay. Let me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
let's do this one first, then.
So for me, this is a big deal. That's not a Fruit Company.
I'm not doing the Fruit Company's later.
Okay.
Comes later. So High Watt, they're all getting in on this.
Right.
High Watt are now doing beers.
High Watt lager.
Oh God, I fancy a beer.
Oh, don't.
Oh, I fancy a beer.
High Watt beer.
Yeah, they're all doing it though. Everyone's doing it. I mean, even not Ampeg. Some of the bass companies are now doing it. It's like,
does it give you extra headroom?
It gets you extra.
Oh, come on. That was worth it, wasn't it?
That's terrible, mate. That was shocking. Okay, let's leave that one there. Sylvester Stallone's brother has started a guitar company.
That actually looks quite nice.
No, that's gonna. No, mate. No.
Oh,
Wrong.
oh no! Oh
That
no!
No. That's like it's
No,
made.
the body looks all right, but the headstock looks grim.
What have they done? Oh no.
Okay, yeah, the body looks all right.
Oh, I don't like sort of moaning about stuff or slagging stuff off, but that looks like it's been sort of
it looked far better in the top picture than it does in the kind of hero image than it does in the side on profile. It looks far better in that top hero.
Yeah. No, that's a wrong one. As far
How much is it?
It's a good point. Let's have a look.
$1 billion.
Well, $1 billion. $1,600, which will rise to $2,000.
Ouch.
During regular production. No, I mean the back looks nice. That's about it. No.
Do we know if Frank Stallone is a big deal in the guitar world?
It's first I've heard, but I'm sure that. Anyway, James, do you want to do our jingle?
It's the Harley Benton moment of the week.
There's a few of them this week. So Harley Benton launches a new mini stomp compact effects pedal range, new affordable mini range. Now, I think this is really good and really exciting. Although there are so many of these Chinese built mini pedals that are out there that it just feels like another sort of OEM thing.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. But, great. At least you've got, Toman's sort of backing of it, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Absolute abundance of pedals.
Mini pedal
Yeah, mini pedalage at €20 a pedal.
€20. That's ridiculous.
It is. I mean, that's almost worth a bit of a punt, isn't it?
Yeah, that's definitely worth a cheeky.
So I'm wondering, because I've ordered not a real clone, but I've ordered a clone. A clone clone that's coming. That should be here tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm wondering if they do like a little mini pedal, a little £20 clone style pedal, and I'd like to compare it against my expensive one.
There's a joke there somewhere that my brain is desperately trying to work on, but it's really struggling.
Okay. Do you know what I did buy this week?
What's
that I took back, and I should have done a video on it. Proco, Proco Rat.
Yeah.
The rat pedal. They do something called the Lil Rat, which is like a little tiny rat.
Yeah.
And it did sound good, actually.
So why did you take it back?
Well, it sounded really good in the shop.
Oh.
And then I brought it home and it sounded more fuzzy. So that they sort of gave me, I think the one that I took home might have been 40, but the one I tried in the shop sounded really good. And I tried it through a Katana, actually. I was really impressed.
All right, cool.
Really impressed with it. I might go and get another one of them anyway. James, do you want to do another jingle?
It's another Harley Benton moment of the week.
What's this? Verifying file. Go away. What's this? Go away.
You're downloading something, probably.
Oh, didn't know I was doing that. I mean, well, they've done it again, but how good does that look?
That looks very good, doesn't it?
That looks so good. That just looks. I love the color. I love everything about that. I'm all over that.
It's probably what, €400? Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that looks expensive, doesn't it? Roasted neck.
How can they actually do that? It's like when you go to somewhere like Primark and they're doing T-shirts for £4 for kids' clothes. Like, how can they actually make an item of clothing for £4? How can they make a guitar look that good for €400?
Okay, it's got a Wilkinson trem on it.
Yeah.
What's a Wilkinson trem? £100?
Well, it might be licensed by Wilkinson. It might not be the real thing. We don't know that. But still, it's good if it's £50.
Okay. And it's got 2 Roswell pickups on it.
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. All of that stuff, if it's like, you know, legit, the stuff that they would be selling normally, all of the parts cost more than the guitar does.
Unless you're buying them in the 10 billion.
Sure, yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Crazy.
But I think that looks absolutely amazing.
I'd play that.
Yeah, I would. So Epiphone BB King Lucille is finally out. Looks good, doesn't it?
Does.
Headstock looks nicer. Yeah, I like that.
I'd play that.
Yeah.
What does the big switch do on it?
Oh, is it called a Veritone? It's basically useless.
Okay, fine.
Because it's I think it's a 355 is the model. I could be wrong. The 355 is a stereo. It's a stereo model.
Okay.
So each pickup is wired to two separate jacks, and the Veritone, I think it's called, is basically a tone control, but it's useless unless it's on fully open. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
You know, like on the Gretches, there's a funny little knob on the Gretches sometimes that does something.
That doesn't seem to do very much.
Horrible thing. But I thought that looked really good. Now look at this bad boy.
Ooh.
Look at this.
Oh man, that looks pretty hot.
Look at that. Oh, look at the neck.
Look at the back.
That is proper craftsmanship.
I already know that's a 10.
What's in there? What's in there? What is that? It's a little coffin case with picks, and they look like
pitch pipes.
And no, I think they look like nuts. Oh no, they're interchangeable saddles. They're saddles.
Oh my god, that is a £10,000 guitar, isn't it?
I haven't seen yet. Does it even say?
That looks like a £10,000 guitar.
Doesn't it look amazing though? They're not even saying it's that expensive. If you have to ask, you can't.
Just the flight case on that is awesome.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a custom shop. It's got to be a custom shop. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's going to be very expensive. Cool though, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Go on then. You can have your bit now.
Well, the Fruit Factory have done it again, haven't they?
So what's going on with this?
So, to get you up to speed out there in the world of guitars.
Oh, I like that.
Apple.
I can open and close it. Look at this.
Apple are moving away from Intel-based processors to their own Apple Silicon. The first machines to be released were released with an M1 chip, and they have now. There we go. Sorry. And they've now brought out two new chips, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max.
Can I just say? So our viewers are probably thinking, what's this got to do with guitar stuff?
It hasn't got that much to do with guitar stuff,
well,
but it has got to do with studios and to do with recording and stuff like that. Basically, it now means you can have similar power to that you have in your iMac, your home machine, or even like your Mac Pro in a 16-inch or 14-inch laptop. Now, for the likes of Paul and I, who do a lot of stuff out in the real world away from studios, that is a serious thing. They were doing testing, and obviously in the Apple spiel, they were saying things. And again, this talks video rather than Pro Tools or audio, because audio is not that heavy a load really for a computer.
No,
these
not
days.
anymore. Not anymore. No.
Video, they were saying it will take 32 4K streams simultaneously.
Wow.
And it would take 8K streams simultaneously.
Okay.
It's ridiculously quick, and be processing those in real time, and
So just so we don't bore everyone too much, how much are they?
To get the top spec one, with enough RAM, with the full spec, it's the first Mac laptop to take 64 gig of RAM.
Okay.
Take it up take it up to a 1 terabyte SSD. For the top spec one is £4,099.
Buy a nice guitar for that.
But remember that the top spec Mac Pro, the silver replacement to the cheese grater replacement, is 50 grand.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, back to guitar stuff, so we don't
Back to
bore
guitars.
everyone.
Let me find where we got to with the chatting stuff. Don't forget. Sorry, that's what we got to, isn't it? No, it's not. Sorry. It's because I can't mark it anyway. It's quite frustrating, as we all know. Right, here we go.
David Minogue says, "Hey Paul, can I make a small request? Could you do a Lincoln Brewster tone on the Boss Katana series?" I've got to show my ignorance.
I'd have to check out who Lincoln Brewster is, because
I've never heard of Lincoln Brewster, but
great name.
I'm sure we're going to be told in the comments who Lincoln Brewster is. But yes, I will definitely check that out, David. Absolutely. Alex says, any thoughts on these new Black Star tube pedals? Yeah, we mentioned it last week. I thought they sounded brilliant. Now, who sent me a message? Was it Lee?
I've seen a lot of, I won't say hatred, but I've seen an awful lot of the valves in the top of the pedals are just there to light up, and they don't do a great deal. Because someone took one of the pedals apart, and 4 of the pins were just jumpered together. So you had the 2 heaters wired up, and 4 of the pedals are 4 of the pins are jumpered together.
Really? Have they done that? Well, anyway, so Lee Abraham, who's a couple of comments up.
Yeah.
Up
or down?
Up.
Down.
Yeah, up. Lee Abraham says about the Gary Moore tones. You know.
Yes.
Oh, see, I see what you mean. Yeah, down. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Lee bought one, and Lee said that he plugged it in. 5 minutes later, it just went and died.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So yes, it's a bit of a shame, but apparently it sounded great until then. So the thing is, that noise, that sort of, it could be capacitors and all that sort of stuff, but that sounds valvey to me. So I'm wondering if it's people just, I don't know,
being negative,
being people. Yeah. Dean Worstuke. Excuse me.
Worstuke. Yeah.
Nice. I'm using the GT1000 with the Katana 100 Mark II in 4 cable method. Where do you usually put the effects loop? Can't seem to get a good low end tone.
Yeah, mate.
So yeah, I was up at 4 o'clock, not sleeping. I'll have to look into that. I will look into that. That's right. As opposed to me sort of trying to make something up and trying to think, I'll work that out. It might be worth, if you've got any questions like that, Dean, send a support request into Boss. They're really helpful.
Yes.
And they like people coming up with problems so they can sort it out and make sure that it all works for everyone else. Bruce Brooks says, don't forget the new Spark firmware has an EQ so you can adjust the bass if necessary. I have no issues with mine. Oh, that's good. They've done that.
That is good.
That is good. Yeah. Lefty Mike says, I'm looking for a powered monitor recommendations for home use. Yamaha, Kali, JBL, budget 600.
You mean monitors as in
studio monitors?
Studio monitors. You could do a lot worse than the Kalis.
Yeah.
The baby JBLs are great.
They're all of that price range. You're going to get. They're all much of a muchness.
If you're really tight on your budget, check out the IK Multimedia iLouds. You will be blown away for how good they sound for next to no money.
Yeah, they did. I was quite impressed with them.
They shouldn't sound as good as they do.
No. Keith Miller says yes, but it uses a pedal slot for the money. I would tend to recommend a Katana 50 over Spark, and the Katana has a global EQ which doesn't burn a pedal slot. I couldn't agree more. The Katana, for the same money, you could buy a Katana. It doesn't. They do slightly different things.
They are different things. Yeah, I think
they are different things. But the Katana 50 sounds way better than a Spark.
Yes.
Speaking of somebody who's had a Katana 100, Mark 1 Spark, and THR. Nice.
Yeah.
Lefty Mike, I've heard good things about the Adams. Yeah, Adams.
It gets to a point where when you start to dig in and you realize that Adams have a ribbon tweeter versus Focals, which traditionally use a beryllium tweeter, and they do all sound slightly different. They all sound good, but it comes down to then you're going to have to just go somewhere that's got a lot of them and listen to them. It's a challenge, but it could be the way forward.
Okay, Scooby Stapp. I got my Harley Benton SC 550 Deluxe a couple of weeks ago. What a nice guitar for an incredible price. Excellent. It's nice that people are saying good things about these Harley Bentons.
Because they used to be a bag of spanners.
Yeah.
I had a firewood delivery earlier, and I do literally mean a firewood delivery. And actually, I think there was a couple of old Harley Bentons in it.
Yes. The only thing that worries me a little bit is the amount of, because they're so cheap. I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think the good thing is that it's accessible for people to buy a decent guitar to play. I think the amount of guitars that they're making worries me a little bit for
sustainability and
exactly
green credentials.
Yeah.
But are they making all those guitars? Are they actually making them, or are they making them available?
Yeah.
Because there's making 20 guitars for a photo shoot, and then there's importing 15,000 guitars in one hit. Thomann aren't stupid. They've been around long enough, and they've got arguably. Well, I was talking to someone this week about it. I said, are Thomann the biggest player in Europe? And he said, not just Europe. Basically, the middle chunk of planet Earth is Thomann.
Yeah,
You've then got Sweetwater on that side.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember the name of the Asia Pacific equivalent, but it was a company I'd never heard of, because I don't deal with that part of the world. But Thomann are a big deal. If you don't think they are, go to the village where Thomann is based. The only employer in the village is Thomann.
Right.
It's Thomanville. It is one village, and it's all Thomann. It's amazing. I've never been. I want to go so badly, and I'm thinking with another job that I'm start ramping up with, I will get to go soon.
Excellent.
I also want to go to Sweetwater in Fort Wayne, which looks amazing. I really want to go to Gearfest next year.
Yes.
We'll try and get to Gearfest next year.
Yeah, Keith was talking about that, but yes, we'll talk about that. Hi everyone. Hi Ivan. How you doing, mate? Go back to Ivan. Go back to Ivan a sec. He looks like Frank Zappa.
He does a little bit.
Matt Wright says Frank Stallone is Norman's mate from Norman's Rare Guitars. He's certainly a character. But you would have thought that Norman would have advised him on some decent guitars, considering all the quality guitars that Norman has.
Yes.
He'd go, no, mate.
Sly popped by our booth the other day, didn't he?
Oh,
at the Arnolds.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. No.
Okay.
Do you know how much it was, a meet and greet with Sylvester Stallone?
Go on.
£1,000. They had 70 slots, 75-minute slots,
Jesus.
and they sold out within 2.5 hours.
God, you got to love that man to want to spend $1,000 to go and shake his hand or whatever.
To go
shake your hand
to do that, or whatever you got to do. Yeah.
Paul Higgins, Stallone with built-in bottle opener. It does look like a bottle opener.
It does look a lot like that, doesn't it? Oh, they're chatting again.
Let's hope. Lee says, let's hope the Harley Benton pedals are better than the Black Star ones. The new valve one I bought lasted 10 minutes. There we go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Right, here we go.
Aristotle says, wood is cheap. It only means other guitar companies are ripping you off. Yeah.
It's cheap as in cost. It's not cheap ecologically. I think that's what Paul is referring to with his concern about.
Yeah. Well, maybe he means with like comments on like all the hardware that they're putting into these.
Yeah.
It's a craftsmanship as well. That's yeah.
Let's not. So the scary thing is that let's not pretend that a €400 guitar is going to feel or play the same. You would hope as a $4,000. What's the word? Custom shop,
Right?
Be it Fender, Gibson, or whatever. But it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
How close they're getting now. That the machine made, hand finished, as opposed to handmade, hand everything to guitars. It's scary how close it's getting now, isn't it?
It's the thing, isn't it? You know, do you want to go and have a table made, or do you want to go and buy something from IKEA?
Yeah,
it's that.
They do the same job.
Absolutely.
You could still eat your dinner off it.
Yeah.
And but there's a video coming later on this week, which I think actually does open your eyes a little bit to guitar snobbery a little bit. I think it's safe to say you've already had your eyes opened on that one recently, but I think we kind of
definitely yeah.
Okay,
next one. Have you done the Player Plus yet? The Fender?
No, but I'd like to because they look great.
Yeah, Fender want to send us anything, I'd love to, absolutely. But the thing is, yeah, it's companies have got to send us stuff to review. We can't. I'm only going to buy stuff that I want, that I physically want.
So this is the thing. At the moment, where we are in the reviewers' pecking order, we're actually buying a lot of this stuff ourselves. Any of these guitars you see reviewed or amps you see reviewed, generally, we're buying them ourselves.
Generally.
And you will also notice that when we say, thanks to so and so, that is when they're loaning us the kit, and on the very, 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 very rare occasion we might be left with it for an amount of time. Very, very rarely is gear gifted these days at our level. Now, that's not to say that we don't get. If we said we wanted to buy something, we often get a good rate, but we don't get gifted it. That doesn't happen. Not at our space in the interwebs. I'd love it to happen, but it doesn't.
Okay, next one. Dick Sensei says swag.
I think he's after some. We don't have any.
Swag.
I'd like some swag if anyone's got any.
That's why Rutherford plays 150. God, squad bullets. I reckon it just must be that he just, maybe just gives them away at the end of the gig. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just like, there we go.
Doesn't Dave Grohl do that with his customs? It
doesn't make sense because there was only 200 of those made.
Right. And he's given them away.
So they can't be. It cannot be because he gives. No, there's no way. What's up? Sweet. Stephen James says, "Good day, guys. Sorry I'm late. No problem, mate." Frank Zappa says, "Fruit Factory."
Yes.
I have an idea. Cheers, Ivan. Casey O'Donnell says, "Limited just 60 examples. A Fender Violin Master will sell for 30 grand a pop." Oh,
whoa!
It's the thing, isn't it? It's one of those. You're right, and that's going to be. You can't gig that. You can't gig that.
The thing is, my dad's violin, as in, is worth significantly more than that.
Is it? What's he got?
It's a
Strad.
No, oh god, no, they're millions.
Oh, are they? Okay.
A Stradivarius is millions.
Right. Okay.
Or a Guineri or something like that is millions of dollars.
I got a quick story. Julian Lloyd Webber came. I've done this story before. I'm sure I have. Julian Lloyd Webber had to record him once, and he brought down his Stradivarius cello. Sounded like a bag of spanners to me, but
because you're not particularly classically orientated, are you?
No, but I didn't think it sounded. I don't know. I'm sure.
I've recorded my dad several times, and his violin is very good.
Right.
And he's, as a violinist goes, he is good. He's not. Being fair to my old man, he's not a top flight international soloist, because if he was, he'd be doing touring and be a top flight international soloist. He's a good violinist, and that violin that's worth, I think it's in the region of 100 or so grand, does every gig with him.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Yep. Keith Miller says Future Gear news. Ardor 7 will support Ableton style clip loop capabilities. What's Ardor 7?
No idea.
Interesting.
Sounds a bit DAWE for me.
DAW, gosh. Nice one. Bruce says, hey guys, I came in late, actually had to work for a bit. Just wondering if James was wearing his slippers. Let's have a look. Oh, oh, mate, I just eaten. That's nasty.
Those slippers were amazing. I actually laughed out loud when I saw the edit. I laughed out so loud, it was funny.
I called the wife up. I said, look, can you just bring like a pair of high heels up? And have you got painted toenails? And she said, oh, what about these slippers? I said, that'll do.
Very funny.
Richard Paul, that's a new name.
It is.
Oh, cool photo though. Good photo. Richard Paul, if anyone needs guitars sorted from a total wizard and general top bloke, Mark at Eastbourne Guitar Workshop is the guy every time. See, I don't mind traveling down to Eastbourne. Nice.
There's only one thing about Eastbourne.
What? Oh, I know what you're going to say. It's full of old. That's a cliche. It's not full of old people.
So is.
It's not full of old people.
I got first time I ever went to Eastbourne. I was in the middle of a police raid. I got the whole kind of get on the floor and got surrounded by police cars. And
why?
I have no. The guy obviously clearly got the wrong man, but I had two guys jump out with machine guns and get me on the floor and pat me down. I was like, wow. Never bloody coming to Eastbourne again.
Wow. I really like Eastbourne.
Nice beach.
Michael Helwitz says, hello, gents.
He's in the house. He's in the house.
Andreas Hensler says, as I like moving air, using mics and preamps when it comes to recording guitars, I'd like to buy a real Neve pre, as the 1081s are too expensive. I thought about 1073 and the 8803 EQ. Any thoughts? There's so many clones out there.
1073 EQ is amazing. Try the BB.
Yeah, BBE.
BBE one.
No, not
BBE. BAE one. They're amazing.
Phoenix audio, good.
Yeah.
Even the warm stuff.
The warm stuff is amazing. The warm rack unit with the EQ in is amazing.
Yeah, sounded good.
But for not a great deal of money. The only thing I'd say about the warm stuff is having had them, and I have, we have good relations with the guys at Warm. Work the pots in, because they feel stiff as old boots. Give it 10, 15 minutes of each pot, and all of a sudden those pots come to life, and they sound amazing.
They do sound good.
Yeah.
Any other things? So 1081s are more expensive than 1073s at the moment.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. To be honest, the one you want to get is the 88, the 500 series 88R pre. That sounds amazing. It sounds so good.
And they're not overly expensive.
I mean, they're £1,000 because a decent 500 series mic pre is £1,000. I've got the 1073 OPX, the 8-channel 1073 that's Dante and all the other things in, and that's an awesome thing because I need lots of mic pre's and I like Neves, and those 1073 sound amazing. Great for snare drum. Anyway.
Keith Milner says there are a couple of tube hi-fi amps in the early 2000s. Excuse me a sec. What had a valve in the front with a yellow LED behind it like it was glowing. There's so many. There was the Korg did a keyboard.
Yeah, it's cool. The Korg Triton Extreme.
Oh,
so tacky. So tacky.
Yeah, it's wrong, isn't it? Michael says, have you tried the new Sonox Claro EQ? I think it's using AI tech. James?
Ooh, I haven't, but I'm going to. Anything that's using AI / machine learning, I like, because
anything that makes it easier.
I'm a great believer in just getting the job done. That's why I like the isotope stuff, CLA stuff, the isotope stuff. Isotope's latest version of Nectar with the vocal assistant is amazing.
Is it?
Absolutely off the chart amazing. What I tend to use that, get myself a vocal sound. I don't use the reverb and delays because I like to do that myself. But I use that to get me to a level, to get me to an even playing field. And then after it, I'll start putting the character stuff if I want to.
Right, great. Awesome.
It really gets me a good playing field for a vocal with minimal effort. And let's face it, that's what it's about, isn't it? Or am I just missing the point?
Yeah. Matt says, actually, yeah, we need to mention about Matt selling a couple of things.
Yeah.
Matt says, had a look at my Vox AC15 head this week. I didn't realize it's got a built-in 3-step attenuator on the back for playing at home. A few amp manufacturers are doing this. Very cool. Yes, absolutely. So Matt's selling a few bits. Matt's selling a nice orange amp. What we need to do is we said we'd do this. We said we'd do like for sale items and stuff.
We need to have a bit of a sesh on the website, don't we? Get someone in who can do a few kind of pages for us and do some cleverness, because neither of us are web gurus, are we, for this sort of thing? I'm pretty sure we can do it. It's like, I'm pretty sure we can make sharing of files and that sort of stuff a lot easier. Actually, Ben Hearn, bass player, has said he can help us with that sort of stuff.
Nice.
We just need to put his other video out.
Yes.
We're in a very strange place at the moment. We've got a lot of videos. We've actually got a backlog of content, which is a really strange, rare place for us to be, which is great.
It is rare. Lee Abraham says Black Star's fault, I reckon, was the cab IR side, as the raw outputs were still okay. The IR sound went almost silent and fizzy. That's interesting. Took it back for a refund. See, I wouldn't have got I didn't like the black one. I like the red one. I thought the red one sounded killer.
Yeah.
Jeff Rock, can't stay too long. I'm at Roger Taylor gig. Kind of Magic on now. Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Nice one. David Brose, about using Macs. Either of you record anything with GarageBand?
I have done in the past, and it's perfectly serviceable. If you're looking to do full Dolby Atmos mixes, don't use GarageBand. However, one of the fruit company's big announcements this week's announcement was that massive upgrade to Logic.
Oh.
And it will now support Dolby Atmos or Atmos, depending on where you're from.
Another Pro Tools killer. There we go.
Yeah.
Matt says KRK entry level monitors. The only thing about the KRKs, they're not flat. They're so bottom heavy. Yeah,
they are very, very hyped at the bottom end. They're kind of a lopsided smile.
Yeah.
They kind of if Harrison Ford smiles at you, that's what KR. But don't get me wrong, those KRKs have been used to make a lot of records.
Yeah, definitely. It's just they're very. Excuse me. They're very dance, EDM orientated, I would say. But they sound a lot of fun. Phil Cartoons, that's another new name. Hello, mate. Eyes got a GT1000 question 2. Have you noticed much difference in sound of headphones direct into the GT1000 versus USB into a Mac or PC? I haven't, to be honest. I'm trying to think actually if I've ever if I've plugged headphones in. I'm sure I would have done. Yeah, not to the point where I've noticed.
It has to be said that I think it's something that certainly Neural didn't do a good enough job on, to their detriment. It was their headphone preamp, the built-in one.
Sure.
Because I don't think it was that good. In fact, I don't think it's that good. I think the one that's on the Headrush is the little Headrush MX5 that you currently have. Is great. I think the one that's on the original 11 rack is great. And Boss and Roland generally don't cut corners on that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't have thought there'd be too much of an issue.
Right.
Too much differences.
Lee Abraham says, another vote for Adams. Mix loads of albums on mine. Love them. Yeah, Adams, great. Phil says, also using GarageBand for my above question. Yeah, nice one. Nice one. Yeah, it's really usable. Would use Logic, but getting latency issues, which I can't solve. Oh, that's interesting. Should be the same engine. It's
I
in
would have
garage
thought
band.
so. Yeah, I would have thought so.
Can't think. Yeah, just wondering about that. Just maybe change your buffer size.
Yeah, buffer sizes must be.
Yes, I think in GarageBand it does that automatically for you.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to change your buffer size.
It'll be a buffer size thing. It might be called.
That's called buffer.
Yeah.
It's called buffer size. I'm sure in Logic it is. Ron says, "Have you ever purchased a guitar based mainly on what it looks like?" Yes.
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 Totally.
Yes.
Guilty as charged, my lord.
Do you know what? I'm trying to think if I tried out any of that lot. The only one that I tried out there is my Gretsch and the LSL. All the rest. Oh no! And the Les Paul. The Les Paul definitely. Yeah, we tried the Les Paul. Yeah, all the rest were bought blind.
My Eggle and my acoustic. I suppose actually I probably tried. Technically, I suppose I didn't check out the PRS. That was bought blind. As was the Jag.
Yeah.
And the 12 string. Everything else I've tried.
Yep.
But I'm embracing the wonders of auctions. I think there's another one in December that might be fun.
Staying well away from it.
Interestingly, speaking to Steve, because I have your
where is it? I haven't had that
here.
back.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's here.
Right. It works fine. Yeah, that's fine.
He did say you'd get your money back on that within about a fraction of a second.
Oh, that's really good to know.
They're very desirable at the moment.
Oh, that's really good to know. Okay, great. Oh, that's really good. Oh, yeah. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. That's great. Okay, next one. Brent Chadwick, another new name. To reduce latency, you need to reduce the buffer. Yes. Yeah. That's what we just said. Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, mate. But you can make it sound bad with a low buffer, with too low a buffer. True. So yeah, it's just about if your computer can handle buffer size.
Yeah.
Always go down as low as possible, but
if you're running a song with 2 tracks on a modern-ish laptop, be it PC or Mac, in fact it's a Mac because it's running GarageBand and Logic, you shouldn't have a problem with buffer size of 32 samples. If you're running 250 tracks, you might struggle with 32 samples.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't have enough detail. So.
Yeah. Alex says, what's the difference between passive and active attenuators? Now, that's really interesting because I don't actually know. So basically, an attenuator is it transfers instead of it transfers the energy to heat.
Yes,
correct, James. So what a speaker does, the speaker's plugged into a power amp. That's loading the power amp of a valve amplifier, but the load box transfers, instead of it being a speaker, it transfers it to heat. That's why load boxes always have massive vents or fans or whatever. Or
was the old Marshall power brake powered?
Oh, I think it was. Yes.
Yeah, because that was the first time I ever saw a load box.
Yes,
that was the first one of those I ever saw, and I thought, what a brilliant idea to be able to crank a 100-watt amp up and not offend your neighbours.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder what that was, because that's got to be 20, 25 years old now.
Yeah, totally. And they do come up on eBay every so often. I'm just not brave enough to fork out the money to get one.
Yeah. In answering Alex's question, I mean, you see them all the time. Like if you go on like Reverb or eBay, there's people that make these fairly cheap attenuators, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know what the difference is between passive and active. All the ones I've got, you have to plug in, so I'm guessing that's active. I think the thing is, there's a difference between what do they call it? Oh, do you mean reactive?
Reactive. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Okay, if you mean reactive, so as an amplifier is a power amp of a guitar amp is constantly breathing. It's constantly pushing different amounts of power, ohmage, James, I guess. Everything is changing. Everything's changing. So that sort of deals with that and copes with, as opposed to it being a static thing, it just makes it sound more like, apparently makes it sound more like a speaker because the speaker's breathing and moving or whatever.
The thing with the speaker is it might be rated at 8 ohm, 16 ohm, whatever, but as soon as that speaker starts to move, its impedance, its resistance, because impedance and resistance, while they are different, they're both signified with an ohm. They have a working relationship with each other. Therefore, but that does change with the movement of the speaker. So
yeah,
hopefully that helps.
Yep. Brent Chadwick says, I don't know how to do it on a Mac, but on a PC I use Voice Meter Banana. I wonder what that was for.
Don't know either.
Don't know what that is. Okay.
Change buffer size probably.
Maybe.
Yes. But it's within the app or the driver for the app.
No, in Logic it's open up Logic, go Logic settings, audio, and it's buffer size. It's in there. Danny T says, James, it's nearing the end of October. Any updates on the studio build? Can't wait.
So I actually do have an update on the studio build. I spoke to the planning officer yesterday. A lovely young lady she was, and we had a chat. We've been talking about some other issues as well I've been having. And she said I will have an answer on the 2nd of November, so just shy of 2 weeks. She has concerns about the size of what I want to do, but it isn't a no yet. So I'm kind of hedging my bets for which way they'll go. I don't see there's any problem with it, but of course, hey, she's the planning officer; she gets to choose. So, yeah, I'm mildly apprehensive at the moment. In preparation for the new studio, I had 2,000 quid's worth of timber fences turn up yesterday, which when the flatbed turned up, the guy said, "Where's your forklift, mate?" And I went, "You and me, buddy." And he didn't like that. He thought there was a forklift coming, and it was me and him to unload this flatbed. I now have two Skodas on my. Sorry, I now have two skips on my drive.
Good.
One for soil and one for old sheds.
Okay.
So yeah, we're in the demolition phase, but we're still waiting for the actual okay and go ahead for the order for placing the order for the new timber. But yeah, it's getting that way. Trust me, I should be dancing from the rooftops as soon as the announcement is made if it's favourable. So yeah,
I'm sure it will be. Ardois is indeed a DAW.
Well, there we go.
Okay.
Ardois. I like that. That sounds great.
Nice. Bruce Brooks says, getting back to the Asian versus custom shop, a Corvette and a Toyota will both get you to church in time and comfort, but which would you rather drive if you had the choice? I think, yeah,
that's not a terribly safe a simile, because a Corvette versus a Toyota.
I think a better way would be saying like a Lada and a. No, I mean they're not even Ladas.
No, a Trabant.
You know those like Chinese cars, those little Chinese cars that you can only get in
China. A tuk-tuk.
Well, yeah, if you want a tuk. Yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, next one. Are there any analog IRs, or is it all digital? It's all digital.
Yes,
all digital. They do. There are analog outputs, which is basically an EQ curve. It's got some sort of pre-built EQ that makes it sound like a speaker. It doesn't. It just what it does, as we mentioned earlier in the show, safety with high and low cut. Basically, what it's doing is it's reducing all the frequencies, the top end frequencies and the bottom end frequencies, squashing together, which makes it sound more like a guitar speaker.
Now, I don't tend to do this, but I know a lot of metal producers will high pass and low pass, high cut and low cut every single instrument in a mix. Because even if say there's your filter, and up here you've got some cymbals and stuff, and you don't. and you don't want that coming through. It makes sense. You cut that off out of your guitar track, for example. But if you're in a studio environment and you haven't got any bleed, I still know people who will filter out the top end because they're like, well, there's this energy being used there by background noise and by hums and stuff, and I don't want it in my mix.
That's exactly what I do. I do every single mix.
There you go. That's why your mixes sound good and mine sound muddy
No,
and grubby.
Your mixes sound great. But yeah, that's what I do, because there's, if you think of, let's put it this way. If there's I mean, let's take it to extremes. If you're recording an orchestra, actually, no, say that you're recording a violinist.
Yeah.
And that violinist is, as opposed to an orchestra, is double tracking.
Yeah.
Now, so there's frequencies in all of that you just don't need.
Yeah.
That's, like the top end frequency. And say that there's and it's a build up of those frequencies that you can't hear and you don't need to hear in the mix. So just get rid of them.
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree.
Paul, how is the feel on the IR200 up at gig volume? Will it feel good, do you think? I think it really will, yes. It's really good. It feels like the GT1000 had that immediate feel to it. I've got to do another video. I'm doing a comparison video actually with me and Boss, are sort of changing our mind about. I had a chat with Matt from Boss about what the video is going to be about, and basically what we're going to do now, because I did the video last week or the week before about the pedal board and just showed it sort of with pedals, which it works great. We're going to compare it against the Strymon Iridium, Strymon's version of the.
Nice.
So we're going to do it I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison of the two.
Cool.
David also says, gents, could you explain your day jobs? We've had this question a few times actually, haven't we?
Yeah.
Are you independent recording engineers, producers in the parallel to do the stuff you do for this channel? James, you want to go first?
Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, I'm a musician, and I put myself in that category because I'm a drummer, guitar player, bass player, arranger, recording engineer, composer, anything else. Primarily at the moment, my field of endeavor, my day job sat here, is I make videos for different companies, be they tutorials, promos, that sort of thing. I work with companies like Antelope Audio, McDSP, Studio Spares, and a few others, Warm Audio on the odd occasion. And yeah, so basically, if it makes a noise, if it's, say today I've been recording an album of kids stuff, kids dance music, kids music for dancing, not dance as in. Tomorrow I've got next 3 days I'm teaching at a rock school at a very lovely private school in West London. Yeah, basically, if it's musical and it's rock and roll and it makes a noise, then that's what I do, and that's what I laughably call my portfolio career.
Nice. Yeah. You're a lot more varied in the stuff you do than what I do, but yes.
I get bored. I'm not good at doing a thing.
Yeah. Sure. So I've got a company called DWB Music. It's basically a production company. So I'm a songwriter, producer, musician, and yeah, all of that sort of stuff. So, and a couple of years ago, I just got a bit fed up with writing loads and loads of pop songs. So that is why I started up the YouTube channel.
And the Studio Rats was born.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think I enjoy building the channel. Sometimes it's frustrating, but I enjoy doing the channel more than writing a song or producing a song or mixing or whatever. But anyway,
I spent most of last week actually going back on some old material I wrote with a friend of mine.
Oh yeah,
and rehashing it, and some of the original vocals were done. It sounded like he did them in his bathroom. It sounded terrible.
Yeah.
So I've just been re-singing all of these old tracks that, they're not going to be top 40 wonders, but they're going to be perfectly good enough for demonstration material.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, some of them have come out quite well. It was a good one. I found myself singing at 8:30 this morning, called "South of the River." which is all about taxi drivers not wanting to take you into South London.
Well, that's the thing about us Londoners. I mean, I'm a South Londoner. I was born in sort of South London, and there's a divide definitely between, you come up to the River Thames. That's Northern England past there. I'm not interested.
Cabbies do not want. They don't want to go south of the river. What can I say?
No, yeah. So that's great. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Okay, next one. Do you have any? Scott Johnson, another new name. Do you have an opinion on the Cali 76 stack compressor? So I'm guessing when it's say stacked compressor, have they brought out another one? So basically, I'm guessing it's the stacking compression technique. Basically, what we sometimes do in a studio is you have two compressors. One's set to slow attack, fast release, and the other one's set to a faster attack. You can change it however you want. So basically, what happens is the fast compressor is catching the very peaks, and the slow compressor is catching everything else. It just makes for a more natural sounding compression
rather than just slamming.
I like slamming. I just like slamming compressor. So no, I haven't. If it's a normal Cali 76, it's a fantastic compressor made by, I can't think of the bloody company now. Really good sort of boutique pedal company.
Ooh, nice.
I can picture in my head. I can't think of it, but yes, really good compressor. And personally, I think one of those compressors, if you've got the original Cali 76, which the big box one, if you can get your hands on one of them, it's that is a keeper and something that's going to be worth a lot of money in the future.
Ooh, nice.
Origin Effects. There we go.
Yes.
It's come to me. Keith Miller says a passive attenuator will place a simple load on the output that won't react in quite the same way as an active load. A reactive load will emulate the impedance per speaker. Exactly. He does. He says it better than He says
it in less words. He says it in less words than us. Right, here you go.
Ron Siegel says, any suggestions on mastering bar chords?
I have two. Right, okay.
Go on.
First of all, you'll never play bar chords with your guitar around your ankles. It needs to be at a sensible height. That's
probably the top suggestion. Well done.
Yeah. And the other best way to learn bar chords is to keep your thumb in the middle of the neck.
Yeah.
That way you won't hurt yourself. I can't do it. I've never been able to do it. I know people who can play. They'll play an E shape and they'll hook their thumb over the top to make the F. I can't do that.
Hendrix sort of style.
Yeah. And then I know people who can do it, with lots of different chord shapes. I can't do it. I've got to play. I would refer to them as bar chords in a jazz style. Thumb in the middle, nice solid bar, move your shapes around.
Yes. So, basically what James said, but there's also another thing. Don't use lots of people tend to think use the flesh part of your finger. You don't use the edge of your finger.
Yes, that bit. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously it's not like on the edge, but you're pressing down the hard bone.
Yeah.
It's there on the edge of on the strings. Other tips: as close to the next fret as possible, without playing actually on the fret, but as close. The closer you get to the next fret, the least amount of pressure you have to push. Also, everything that James said, and have a look at your action. If you're really struggling, have a look at your action, because you might find that get your guitar set up and you'll be laughing.
This came back. Having never been to Steve Barrett Guitar Lodge, Felixstowe, it's a new guitar.
Is that?
It is. It's an absolute stunner of a guitar all of a sudden. I mean, it was good before, but now it just feels like a new guitar. He's dropped the action down, and it feels amazing.
Great, nice one.
I love playing this guitar. I really do. I've never fallen for a Les Paul before. And I really love that guitar. Anywho.
Keith Milner says, lots of practice, especially with a metronome or better.
Yeah.
Spectrix.
Yeah.
Start slow and build up speed. All of that's good.
All is good.
I would rather drive a Genesis or Lexus than a Vette.
Corvette.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Andreas Hanser says, would you recommend using a device like a Furman to power gear, like Pre's interface, PC monitors, and so on? Or only if there occurs, or only, okay, it's basically saying, would you recommend you use a power conditioner or only if there's noise issues?
Okay, so there's two parts to this story really, and I will go into the reasons for both. A power conditioner can do, and again, depending on the one you get, Furman are a well-known brand. I have one by a company called Ticket, and they haven't existed for quite some time as far as I know. But the cool thing about this one is they've got loads of variable DC outputs. So instead of having to plug your cheap wall warts in to your distribution, you actually get a good quality 9, 18, 24 volt output from this unit, which is one of the best things about it. And it's got 18 of those outputs.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like a really big pedal power.
Yeah. But it also does, proper 240 volt kettle style outputs as well. It also does clean up your power, and it regulates the sinusoidal nature of your AC, your alternating current. Now, that's great, and it will make your gear sound better. Paul's already gone. The biggest problem, though, that most people have in their home studio spaces is what's called brownouts. That has nothing to do with low frequency noise. And
I've definitely had a brownout when I was about 16. But anyway,
there we go. There it is.
I was in Mexico. Ate some dodgy
chilies. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for bringing the level back to you.
Okay.
Brownouts happen. It's a thing that happens at your electrical supply. So the voltage in the UK should be 240 volts, 50 hertz. If it drops below a certain point, your electrical gear will stop working. Your computer will futz out. It might well crash. It might just go boom, whoop, and come back. Brownouts are really bad for gear. They're really bad for valve amps. Really, really bad for valve amps because the valve loses its control voltage and its heat voltage, and it comes back, and not good. The thing you really want to use is a UPS, nothing to do with delivery services. It's referred to as an uninterruptible power supply. Basically, it's a fucking great battery. You can get rack-mounted ones. You can get standalone things that look a bit bigger than a car battery that will maybe take your rig will hold your entire rig for a couple of minutes, 20 minutes. I saw a picture of the U2 tour, and their 3 UPSs would run the entire stage for 20 minutes.
Wow.
But they were the size of a small town.
Wow.
So power conditioning is one thing, but brownouts are the thing you really want to avoid. A UPS will be far more use to you than a Furman.
And I love the way that Andreas just asked the question. All you had to say was yes. But no, you had to just go into specific detail about things.
I had to go in and make it sound like I know what I'm on about, didn't I?
This is why our shows are like 2 hours long. Yeah, fair enough. Bruce says, Keith Milner, I have a Vet and an Infinity SUV. The Infinity is definitely more comfortable, but the Vet is more fun.
Bruce, you're definitely going to have my opinion because he's got some amazing guitars and a sports car. That's awesome.
Top Load Telly, can you guys speak to the subject of learning time? Almost impossible to teach. Those of us that learned on drums as a kid seem to have a slight advantage with timing.
I think it's learning time.
Learning
not
time.
Learning time.
Okay. I thought it was like a 10,000 hours thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Of learning timing then.
Well, time, feel, groove.
I think it's. I just think playing with other musicians, it's the only way.
The only way to do it is play with musicians who you think are better than you are.
That's true. That's true.
The nice thing to hear is that in the bar afterwards, you hear that they were saying the same thing about you. That's for me, that's the biggest compliment I can have, because I know I'm playing with guys who we're all pushing each other and stuff like that.
A good question. Really good question.
I think you can do a lot worse than practice to a metronome, and I think you can do a lot worse than practice to a drum groove. If you're a rhythm player and you want to learn that whole kind of what's his name, Wolfpack guy,
Corey Wong,
that whole the accuracy of that bang, 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 just practice to a drum pattern or practice to a metronome.
Yeah, all of Wolfpack, just awesome musicians.
And just do it for hours and hours and hours until your hand is bleeding, and then do it some more, because you still ain't going to be as good as those guys.
I always find with things like that is that you practice, and then I don't know if this is just me, but then you feel like you're getting nowhere, and then you still feel like you're getting nowhere, and then the next day you wake up and then you can do it. For some reason, that processing.
I'm reading a really good book at the moment all about sleep and why we sleep, and there is scientific evidence that says that. That says if you do something, say you want to learn some facts, and you learn them, and then you get a good night's sleep. The good night's sleep cements it into your long-term memory. There's lots of science in that. Nice. So yeah, actually, sleeping on it is a really good one.
Interesting.
There you go.
Okay, we need to get through these because we're coming up to 2 hours.
Keith
says, Bruce Brooks, personally, the most fun. Oh, hold on. Are we talking? Right. I'm not talking cars.
Not cars. No, okay. Not doing cars.
Okay.
No.
No.
And again. No. Right, here we go.
It's all right. It's all good. You can talk about yourselves about whatever you want.
Yeah.
Talking of power, it'd be interesting for you guys to review a pedal board, power boards. I'm interested in some like the yes, like the Sonox one. Yeah.
I can get those.
Can you?
I can get, because ADG do them.
Great. Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be really good. The thing is, I think it's so hard and it's so dull as well, because that's why you don't really see many videos on that, because it's quite. I mean, it's slow going, isn't it? Yeah. So it's like I've got a pedal power and I'm plugging it in, and now we're going to compare it against this one. The pedals are going to probably sound the same. Yeah. Unless you're in like some really dirty sort of, talking about power conditioning and stuff. But your
surname is Johnson.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, he probably doesn't even use pedal board power. He just uses batteries, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, but it is a really good question, and it's something that's really important, because good pedal power is really important.
Yeah. And don't buy one of those cheap things from China with the loop thing that goes loopy, because that first pedal might get 9 volts. The last one's probably getting about 2.
Yeah, it's funny. It really is. It's one of those things you buy pedals because pedals are really exciting and they're fun and you're getting noise out of it. And then after you bought a couple of pedals, you realise that the next thing you have to buy is a pedal thing for 150 quid or whatever. And you go, oh God, have I really got to buy that?
Not very exciting, but very good.
Are they? And they're isolated. Great. Yeah.
Not very exciting. I had that one, and that's going to power my other board. But anyway,
and it really is
boring.
But it's a really good question, Keith. Yeah, it's a really good question. I have 3 UPSs in my house and a couple in my garage. Recommended. Oh, nice one.
Yes.
Alec Bourne said Alec Bourne, MIDI Mad Scientist, says, highly recommended for smaller pedal groups as well. I use a Mission 529 and battery banks to protect my board. Loads of brownouts and some OD. Oh, interesting. Oh,
see, at this point, up yours, Paul Drew.
I know. I know what. Yeah, I know. Alex and Alec has got a good beard, though. I listen to people with good beards. Bruce Brooks says, always. No, right. Down we go. Ivan Idea says, Frank Zappa, I've been getting that for 20 years. You guys are awesome. Thanks, mate. Ron Siegel, if not too personal, what's the most you've paid for a guitar? No, I don't mind talking about money. I don't mind talking about money.
Nor do I. It's the 1,400 quid.
Mine's
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. $2,500 for my acoustic, my Eggle acoustic.
Nice. I think probably my Gibson, my Les Paul. That one. I bought the second hand at Guitar for 3,100, I think it was. Which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But the thing is, it's an awesome guitar, but the thing is, that will always be worth that, at least that. Because I bought it second hand, and
that's the thing about that Eggle as well. It was acoustic guitars seem to hold their value. So result.
Yeah. Keith Muller says, regarding sleep, some neuroscientists have suggested the first hour of the day is vital for cementing learning, especially emotional development. That's really interesting. I'd like to know what that means. So me going on YouTube and Facebook probably doesn't help that, does it?
Not really.
So should I get up and then just go and practice? I'm going to try that tomorrow. I'm just going to get up and I'm going to practice tomorrow. Instead of going for a run, I'll go for a run afterwards. Let's do that. Thanks, Keith. Apparently the stimulation disrupts the mechanism. Tuplo Telly, Paul, did you ever get a chance to research Dwayne Allman and the Allman Brothers Band? I was stunned to hear that you said you were not familiar with either during a previous podcast. Yeah, I'm embarrassed about it as well. I haven't yet, to be honest. I do keep forgetting. But on my little notepad, Dwayne, tomorrow I'll be studying.
Yeah, I'm as bad as well. So
sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. Bruce Brooks, not about cars. Always wanted the right-hand drive car so I could jam while driving. Guitarnik would stick out the window and not interfere with the stick shift. Evening, Pez. Aristotle's. I have used power banks for mobile phones with step-up voltage card with chance 5 volts to 9 volts. Works like a charm and totally quiet because they're batteries. Genius.
Very nice. I like that.
Genius. Go back to my last post. It really wasn't about cars. We did. Which change?
Don't know. Not sure what that means.
Okay. Next one. You guys ever use Guitar Pro software? No.
Never have. I've seen people use it, and it's really cool for transcriptions and stuff like that, but I've never used it.
Oh, is that what it's for?
Yeah. Do you remember that? There was that thing. Was it Vustex did a red, looks like a CD player that you could slow the CD down for analysing guitar tracks and stuff. That was cool. Vestax, yes. Long gone now, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they were part of Tascam for some reason. Maybe they weren't.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So we're done. We're nearly at the 2 hour mark. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for keeping us on our toes. We will be back next week with more of the same. Just don't give us the same questions, otherwise it'd be really boring. But for now, my name's James Ivy.
Paul Drew.
Take care. See you soon. Stay safe and all that sort of stuff. And we'll see you again very soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.